Megan Smith, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, as a white male media guy, I got nothing.
We want everybody in.
No. When you got the invitation, I want to come to inclusion in a big way, but when you got the invitation to go to the White House, a little bird told me you were in Africa when the invitation came, and I wonder if you could share how you thought at that moment. You were pretty high at Google. So Google, USA CTO. USA CTO, Google. How did you decide? Was it obvious?
I think there's two things. One is I didn't really know about the job, and I didn't really know what that meant. So I was like, what moved to Washington? And it's something that I think is very significant for the technology community and the innovation community, is that we need to be in the government. And there hasn't been a seat for us. And the president has created this seat and other seats. We kind of put all the tech people, other than, of course, at NASA and NIH and other people, in the rest of the government. The lawyers rotate in, Surgeon General, scientists, economists, everybody comes in and out, but the techies are in the vendor land or buried. So even if we have talented people inside, they can't change the architecture. We need people at the table. So I didn't realize I should be there, but it's the most incredible job I've ever been part of. And I was in Africa working with amazing talent there, and it was great to hear a little bit about Africa. I think it's going to be the greatest change in the world that we see as 900 million talented teammates join us in the world.
What are you in the middle of at the White House? In that picture where they're going after Osama bin Laden, and they're all there, Hillary's there, and the president's there. Are you actually there too, just not in the photograph?
That was a long time before I came. I've been there. I've been there for about a year. So the chief technology officer is a really interesting job. We're embedded at the Office of Science Technology Policy with the president's science advisor, Dr. John Holdren, who's also an MIT grad. And so we're embedded with people and teammates who are covering the technology topics, climate change and Arctic and Ebola and computing. So we're embedded there, and our job is advise the president and his team how to harness the power of data, technology, and innovation on behalf of the American people. So it's quite wide open. And so you work with the president to decide the priorities. We're working on 3 buckets. One is around policy and having tech people at the table. Another is around sort of digital government. How do we have, if we're the country that can make Amazon and Facebook and Twitter, where are those Americans, and how do we get them into government and serve the American people with amazing digital services like those on behalf of the IRS, on behalf of immigration, on behalf of the veterans, we have the number 3 employee now in the VA from Amazon. So just bringing that talent, over 220 people have come this last year from the tech community to join us and do tours of duty, just like the other kinds of colleagues, economists, 6 months, 4 years, however you want to come. The third area is I call Innovation Nation, which is how do you get more of the American people in on the kind of experiencing we're all having, which is what Africa was about. We were in a tech incubators all over that are emerging, iHub and others.
This was for Google at that time.
At the time, but that world of techies, we know them. They're the TEDx Burning Man, app people all over the world. And so how do we get more of the people who live in those same cities to be able to participate in those kinds of high-paying, fun, exciting jobs that are high passion, especially our youth?
What's your challenge to this audience in terms of debugging the lack of inclusion out of this realm? And beyond that, the huge span of work that's being thought about and pursued here. You're the CTO of the country. What's your challenge to this hall?
Thank you. I think
as a person, I know there are limits to what you can say, but just you personally looking at this.
I got to take acoustics from Professor Bose here at MIT, who's amazing.
Wow.
And one of the things that,
that's pretty cool.
It was amazing.
I hear you.
And he was such a good teacher. I hear you. He was a great teacher. And he always said you have to work on what you're passionate about. If you do that, you'll just be unstoppable. And so I encourage everyone to work on their passion as one point. I think there's 2 points. And I think if we all do that, there's so much diversity in the world. Working on solutions that really matter to people that you love. It could be discovery, it could be invention, whatever. It could be writing and creation. But doing that matters, and getting in teams. And then I think the part of that matters for everyone is how are you making sure that you're fielding all the talent, and that we really work hard to understand unconscious bias. This is a problem with our brains. We naturally need to make decisions with imperfect information, and we fill in all the stuff that's untrue. You know, we had demo day at the White House, and you know, venture capital. We got 50 venture capital firms to commit, which is so exciting, to changing their ways, because only 3% of venture capital goes to women-led companies, and only 1% to African-American founders, which is just such a waste of talent, and it's bad for our economy, and it's bad for the people, and it's just not good. So every single group needs to notice this and pay attention. And I think as we do it, I really feel a lot of what my job is and what we can do is unlock talent. As we unlock more talent, the passion it has will solve our greatest problems together. And it's diverse teams over and over. All the data is there. Make the best products, make the best solutions. And so the more we focus on that, and I really feel the Media Lab could lead in this area if it decided to focus in. You know, like Deb Roy's amazing work of this huge amount of speech. Could we look at all the speech, 24 hours of a news cycle, and what was the imbalance of it in terms of gender and race, and who's saying what about who, and how could we study that as a real topic? And think about every group in the Media Lab and how they could have a diversity and inclusion component of their deep research to really take up also Kofi Annan's point.
Megan Smith, daughter of MIT, woman of power and vision. Thank you very, very much for being with us today. Thank you. Thank you. It's really great to have you. Thank you so much. Megan Smith. Woo, woo. Thank you, Megan. And remember, she's looking for this Declaration of Sympathies, 1848. If you can find it, bring it in. I read it last night online. It's amazing.